We got. Are we going? Are we live?
We're going. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Phil's Recap and Review. This is The Sopranos, Season 4, Episode 8, and we're going to be doing Episode 9 tonight, Mergers and Acquisitions, and whoever did this, Matt, as Matt was saying before we got started here, 2 huge episodes of The Sopranos. I mentioned this, or I'm going to mention this in a post that I'm going to putting out talking about this episode and talking about 2 huge Ralphie episodes. These are essentially the Ralphie mic drop and the Joey Pants acting on this series. He won the Emmy for whatever that's worth for this season, and this episode that they submitted was episode 9 here, the second episode we're going to watch tonight, which was, if you think about just from beginning to end, one of the single best individual performances in any Sopranos episode ever is Ralphie in the next episode. But Ralphie's great in this episode too. And there's also a lot of awesome Paulie in this episode. And Tony's selfishness is at a height in both of these episodes, and seeing his hypocrisy as he protects Ralph and then pushes, and then the whole Pie My situation. Christopher's "I didn't" is in these 2 episodes. Great episodes of The Sopranos. Matt, welcome. Thank you for joining me tonight.
Christopher, great acting by Michael Imperioli as the whole when he's completely strung out in the second episode that we're going to do tonight. Yeah, no, 100%. You're the man, Phil. Never rush the process, Mark Houston. We know all these Soprano casts. We're talking about a show that's a million years old, so we do appreciate anyone that comes in and checks these out tonight. And if you do, make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, join us, because Matt and I have put out a task this year to finish season 4, and we're at the precipice of that. We have 2 more podcasts left to do for season 4 to finish off this season, and we're gonna do it. I'm not even mistaking about this at this point. If we don't, we don't deserve to finish. We don't have the makings of a varsity podcast if we can't finish 2 podcasts in the next, between now. We might even start season 5. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but no, unless one of us dies in a stable fire, we're good. We're getting through this.
Yeah, and I hope somebody cares about us, Matt, as much as Tony cares about Pie Oh My. And I asked the question, and please pop this in the live or in the comment section if you're watching this later, or you can email or call in 781-990-8509. Leave us a voicemail or potentially call in and talk live, depending on when I see your call, or you can text that number 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or email at theissuesguy@gmail.com and answer this question, Matt, because I think most people are probably going to say yes to this, but do you think did Ralphie kill the horse? Is it even questionable? Am I being ridiculous asking the question if Ralph killed the horse, or does it matter?
I don't think you're ridiculous, because the fact of the matter is, this is he had a lot of other shit going on. The horse was kind of at the back of his mind at this point, I think, because of what was going on with his son. But you can tell by his reaction he didn't give a shit. And no, you're right. And he's trying to screw Tony over because Tony,
Tony acts okay. Tony usually has genuinely better people skills than he shows at times in these 2 episodes. I watched them a couple days ago, so it's not quite as fresh, but I think it's mainly in this first episode, just how he's talking to Valentina, and then how when he chooses to, he rushes the process to go to our good buddy Mark Houston in the live chat. We got Why So Curious in the live chat. It's not a Sopranos cast without Why So Curious. But what Mark Houston is saying, Tony rushes the process. He mentions it to Ralphie. He picks the worst opportunity to say it. Some of the shit he says to Valentina in, I believe it's the first episode, when he's like, "Well, I took his horse too," is some of the just stupidest, room reading shit in the world, and shows how little Tony gives a shit. And in some ways, Michael Imperioli and Steve Schirripa were saying this a lot in Talking Sopranos. A lot of the reason he's just bored. In this first episode, as he's delegating responsibility to Christopher and Sil, he's bored and doesn't have a lot to do, so he's buying stuff, he's acquiring things, and he almost gets the Gumar out of boredom and bullies Ralph with it just for spite.
Well, there's an element of her, I think, that reminds him of Gloria, obviously. It's like
and Arena maybe,
which is the one time where. But Arena was a kid. Arena was like not that bright. He could have said that stuff to Arena. She wouldn't have gotten offended. Like Valentina's
right. She more seemed she has her shit together. She's got a business going on, or at least a scam going on with the artist and making money off these. And making money off these situations and harvesting people that don't
like Arena needs someone to latch onto. Like Arena can't survive on her own. She needs Tony or Assemblyman or someone to take care of her. Like this, I don't think this woman does at all.
No,
and obviously Gloria didn't. But
no, not till Tony. She burns all of her hair off trying to cook Tony's. Just so we fast forward to how
Jesus Christ! Yeah, I know. I forgot that's how that ends. Yeah,
I must say after our last rewatch episode that we did a couple weeks ago, I went to go watch these 2 episodes not too soon after. And Matt and I have been doing this so long that I'm ashamed to say how many times I've probably watched The Sopranos in its entirety since we haven't actually done podcasts on it. But I'm constantly, at times when I try to watch just 2 episodes in blocks, because usually we do 2, sometimes we do 1, but usually we do 2.
Well, for a vast majority of our history, we did 1, but yes, since we've been on the 2 kick.
Yeah. Right, since we've been on the 2 kick, or for a while, when you used to come by, we do 2 or 3 sometimes just to bang them out. I believe at one point we did 5 episodes. I think there's one of these where we did about 5 episodes just to get part of the season done. But I just kept going. I couldn't stop myself, and I ended up watching the entire Sopranos series and then had to go back again here. So sometimes it happens where you just can't stop. And I think these next couple of episodes, though, Matt, are so just important to the series in general and have so many of very big events that happen and historic Sopranos memes and kind of just weird things like that going on in these couple of episodes. That's very interesting.
And I think, I don't know, I'm this is off the top of my head here, so correct me if I'm wrong on this. We also don't have any. There's no like Jackie Jr. There's no mediocre shitty characters right now in here.
No,
like in this, you're like it. Everyone is an A-list actor at this point, like bringing their game as far as I think right now. Like there's no weak points of this right now at all. I having said that, it continues to get that good because we keep, we still have, we haven't even seen Phil Leotardo yet, really. So.
No, and the last point before we get into these episodes right now, episode 8 and episode 9 has a scene with her as well with the Ralphie phone call. The actress that plays Polly's mom has maybe 2 of her best episodes. She's so good.
Yeah.
And I guess they were saying on the Talking Sopranos that this was one of her first acting jobs. She's later into acting and kind of just got cast initially. And she is so good in this role. And in the first two of her episodes, episode 8 especially. But even in the phony phone call scene with Ralphie, they just play her so well. I got Blue Cross Blue Shield back.
Oh my God. It's like that's the most real line that someone my grandmother's age would have said. It's 100% accurate.
It's so good. It was done so
when The Sopranos was on, my grandmother was probably her age. And that's like, that's what my grandmother would have acted like at every point. Yeah.
I love it. And so that's excellent casting. Another funny thing that happens in this, I can't remember if it's the first episode or the second episode. I think it's the first one, when Tony is getting his entertainment system. I just want to make sure I say this now.
But I think it's the beginning of the second one, maybe, or end of the first.
Either way, It's The Fugitive that he's watching, which has Joey Pants in it, which is just kind of funny.
Oh, yeah.
That they kind of do that. And there's a lot of keep an eye out as well for the Sympathy for the Devil, Ralphie stuff. Pleased to meet you. Hope you. I think there's a few lines throughout these 2 episodes.
The priest gives him a line. The priest gives him a line 100%. We'll see it when he talks to Father Endentolo.
And I'm going to say this when the episode airs, Matt, but most likely you and I will, other than our dogs and our cats and our animals that we'll have through our whole lives, we'll probably not have sons and daughters. But I'm putting, don't don't give out bow and arrows to kids without proper training. There's some shit that happens. Yes. There's some stupid shit. Like they're characters, not real people. Again, I reiterate, I'm going to be calling these kids stupid and their games stupid, but they're not real people. They're characters. But if you're playing bow and arrow the way they were playing bow and arrow, like, what do you expect? And Mr. Ralph, like, why aren't you calling 911? Why are you running up to Ralph? I know Ralph's a piece of shit, but amazing stuff. But Matt, let's get into it. Season 4, right. Episode 8. If you haven't done one of these with us and you're watching this now or later, or you're eating some now and laters while you're watching this, whatever you want to do, let me try to get into this. Here we go. I made it. What we're going to do is we're going to watch the episode live, and if you're just listening to us or watching us here, we'll give enough context to what's going on as much as we can to let you know, and maybe you might be able to hear it a little bit in the background. But whoops, did I just play this by accident? I did. Whoops, no. Let me go back, Matt. I fucked it up already.
Father Ntintola's line is something about, were you there when Jesus Christ had his moment of doubt?
Doubt and pain.
Something like that.
Doubt and pain. Something like that. Yep. Okay, so we got season 4, episode 8 is the episode we're gonna do. I find this HBO app ridiculously annoying sometimes, Matt. Like if you
are an old man now, Phil. So
I am. This app is bad.
Do you have Blue Cross Blue Shield?
I miss it when it was HBO Go, Matt. It went. Now it's just the Max. It's scary. Oh, and we'll get into it. Another couple of fucking Grand Central Station in here, Matt. Junior is incredible in these episodes. Junior's been missing for the last few episodes. Not missing, but not as focused. And we get some great, the beginning of the Junior stuff.
We have no Meadow.
Nope.
We have no FBI Adriana. There might be there's a hint of Adriana, but there's no FBI.
No, and she's great in the scene with her and Ralphie. And no AJ except in a good scene where he's like, I'm not going outside, it's cold. Where he's just being a douchebag. So it works. Oh, everybody. Okay, so season 4, episode 8. We're gonna go 3, 2, 1, and then I'm gonna push play. And and yes, we got Gotti is watching us in the background. I'd like to thank producer of the show, Gotti, former host, my cousin, who's allowing me to watch this Sopranos episode right now. But I'm going to give Gotti some love, who's in the live chat. It says, Father Phil is totally quoting Sympathy for the Devil several times, and Ralphie does it. And this is such a great couple of episodes.
Why do I not see it in the chat, Phil?
Because he texted me.
Oh, I thought you said it in the chat. Okay, we're good. I'll shut up.
Okay, here we go. And season 4, episode 8, mergers and acquisitions. 3, 2, 1, go! I'm slow, Matt. How are we doing?
I think I'm good. Okay. If I'm off by a second or two.
It's good enough, everybody. So if you're synced up, we got Luna. It is. And I miss the old platforms. This Max app sucks. My titter. Great to have Gotti in the live chat. Thank you to everyone that's checking this out or popping on in here tonight to watch these Soprano episodes. I think these are 2 of my favorite we've watched in a while. These are two really, they're all great episodes, but season 4 has, it almost gets forgotten about how many great episodes are in season 4, because when people are putting season ranking lists, I don't see 4 often mentioned in there, but right down to the end, we have a Murderer's Row lineup of episodes coming up here.
Yeah, I think this might be my favorite season.
Yeah, might be mine
just because
too.
There's no skip. You know how much I hate skip.
There's no skip. There's no there's no
pussy when he's pretending to be like an FBI agent, which is ridiculous.
AJ isn't old enough to make it so they have to make him a character. They have to warrant AJ's existence. Yeah, the Max app does suck. I think they reached their pinnacle when they had like the HBO Go or Sleep or Stop or Duck Goose. HBO Duck Goose is coming out next year. So we start right in at the Soprano house, and we got Carmela and Ponytail Pete here and their relationship. And we have another first-time actor with the guy that I guess he was a poet that plays Furio's buddy in Italy. That was his first time acting. And Furio suggested him for the role, and they flew him out to Italy to do that. But this just shows right off the bat how self-absorbed Tony is. He cares, he wants to hear it, but then once you get into it, he's like,
yeah. He's like, yeah.
Forget it. No, it doesn't, Furio. We got
Cuts him off. You need any money?
We got the amazing Brendan Davis in the live motherfucking chat right now. Great to see Brendan. 4 was a great season. Phil, you got to check out Gamora too, my dude. Also, Love Hate from Ireland is an amazing gangland show. Thank you, Gregor Smith. Very much appreciate that, and we will take a look at those. I got to copy that. Oh, my God, Polly.
Phil, you and I are perfectly synced up, by the way. This is amazing.
I love it. There's the simple things in life, Matt, when we're perfectly synced up. There's a magic to it. We're all going to grow old and we're all going to die. Oh, my God.
It's so weird how annoyed he is with Paulie at this point. Like, remember they were friends at one point?
They were, but Paulie's one of those guys that once the glasses burst and you see him for what he is, it's hard to go back. And there's all the Tony inherently believes that Paulie was the one that shared the joke, and he can't prove it. Paulie's slippery with this one. We got the Ghostbuster mayor here playing Tony's lawyer. I love this guy. Gangs of London is another great one. Great to see Inglewood Rose. Great to see everyone in the live chat. Now we got Sonic, your boy, in the live chat. Toast it up if you have a drink. Cheers to everybody. As this guy's telling Tony Soprano that he's got to do something about the Ghostbusters. The Ghostbusters destroying
Who does he say he talks to in his room? Is it
Thierry LaGuardia? He's been dead for 36 years. It's something like that.
Is this true? Yes, this man has no penis.
Gotti says the real sad thing is that the Max is better than it used to be, though. HBO Max got better at the end of its existence. HBO Go was way better. Tony even gets back to that same joke in 6B.
There's no way that Christopher gets all of this information correct. Just writing it on this.
Dude, Tony is worse than Mr. Balsamo. I don't know. I just picked giving you notes and not caring. I just picked a random name that Brendan and Gotti would remember.
Well, listen, but here's the thing, though. He let Christopher know, like, I'm going through you. Like, you have to be in the ball. And Christopher is just completely letting him down.
Yeah, and because Christopher is leaning into his addiction in this point as we see Tony bored out of his trees. And yes, Gotti, in the episode Remember This, or Remember When, I believe it's called, as where Tony keeps trying to hammer Paulie in on that joke, and Paulie never gives it up. And you could say, if you do believe with the theory that Paulie is the one that orchestrated the Tony hit in some ways, that was the episode that sealed Tony's fate with him, but I don't know if I believe that. I'm just saying, for those that do, they point to that episode as him realizing that Tony was going to kill him, so he harbors no allegiance to him, as Carmela's having her Furio fantasies every time we hear her Pavlovian dog song that turns her on to Furio's ponytail every time she has and Carmela's like, ding, Furio. And this dude,
that's a wild. He just goes a HUD right there, just throwing Tony under the bus.
Now, if I'm Tony in that situation, that guy's not long for this world, but it is an example, and we see this guy as the most recent example and probably the most successful example, because he doesn't end up like Davey Scatino or Tony B even later on, that follows that Tony corrupts. Tony gets into your blood and makes you one of them.
You know what that thing from Freeland Avenue is that they bring out? That's the piece of property that
Tony scammed Junior out of.
Yeah, the Tony scammed Junior out and then sold it. Yeah, I'll take that off your hands. Like, Phil, I wish we weren't watching it right now because I'm starting to. I'm starting to not be as much of a Tony defender, and it sucks.
I know, especially in these 2 episodes. My whole thing with like Tony's not much better than Ralphie, like on that scale, and part of why he hates.
But you know my love of animals and shit. So like
I love animals too, but is some of it what we get to with Melfi at the end of the series, where part of this is crocodile what alligator tears, as Polly says later about Ralphie. It's just alligator tears. I love Rosalie. In every scene she's in. She's one of those actresses on this show, and a lot of people do it, but I think she more than most, and I think Artie's another one that does it, and I think they're all part of a similar theater group with Michael Imperioli and Edie Falco as well. They really know how to make the most of their scenes when they're on screen. And Ro, she's acting her ass off in every scene she's in, and keeping right up there with Edie Falco. It's like everyone talks about how awesome Les Claypool is, but Larry Lalonde, the guitar player, he has to keep up with him through every friggin' Primus song.
I know that's where we're going with Primus, but yeah, sure.
But you know what I mean, Matt.
Oh yeah.
You know, the Furio song. Gotti says, I don't buy that Paulie arranged the hit, but I do pause at what he said when he had to pay Carmelo when Tony was busy. His coma being the Kevin Finnery stuff. He was definitely orchestrating with him and Vito for who was
they were
next in
shiesty as fuck not paying out.
They were. And we got now the real question of all of this, Matt, is could Pyomai just so people someone's gonna say you don't really know it. I know what the real horse's name is. Could it really have won the Breeders' Cup? I mean, that's the important question here. So, perfect timing for that line. So, as I was talking to Matt about before the show started, this is Valentina, the third. I mean, Tony has different girls that he's involved with, or one-offs, but she's the third of his Gumars that's about to be a more long-standing relationship. If some people think that this actress might be somewhat familiar, she's been in a bunch of stuff, but where I remember her from and didn't realize till this most recent rewatch is she was on that show, Head of the Class, with
Dr. Johnny Fever from WKRP in Cincinnati.
Exactly, and then eventually they replaced him with Billy Connolly, I think was the actor's name. Robin Givens was on the show. It was basically that generation's, my generation's version of Welcome Back, Kotter.
Welcome Back, Kotter, yeah.
As Ralphie steps in some dog shit. I'm not dog shit, horse shit. Sorry, I literally.
I mean, the thing is too. Second you see her, you can tell she's right up Tony's alley. Mm-hmm. Like Tony that. She's like, that's Tony, especially after
Gloria.
That's Tony's like.
She has Gloria-ishness about her. She's not.
She's not 100%.
No, but she doesn't quite have the as a character, not as an actress or a person, but as a character, she doesn't. What we're presented is she's more shallow than Gloria is. Oh, yeah. Gloria has more textures and depth, and also way more batshit crazy.
Yes, way more.
Although
this one's just like playing with fire. She's like, she doesn't care what she does.
Wow, were you foreshadowing her death, Matt, by saying playing with fire?
I wasn't, but she does play with fire a lot.
Yeah, Matt, that was you should say not pun intended there. Yeah, Dan Pevstrader was on Head of the Class. Okay, so it was Head of the Class. Thank you, Inglewood Rose and Billy Connolly was good. I'm glad I can remember random names. Nucci, as Polly brings her into it, we were talking about this before the show started.
He gave her a good little that
cookie. He absolutely did. But I have to say, and I've said it before, she is amazing. They cast so well. You said she reminds me of what, just everyone's grandmother. There's such an authenticity, that's probably the best word for it, to her performance in this role. And she handles some of the deeper stuff they give her later when Polly's maternal stuff comes into question with when it's really his aunt. And these two, oh my goodness me.
And this is one of the best Polly lines in the whole show.
Yeah, and it's
when I was a little kid, you two were old ladies.
And both these actresses have been in other things. Here it is. Long day. Oh my goodness, we got to send some love out to our friend Jonathan McMahon in the live chat. Long day, buried my aunt, but we gotta call in. Yeah, we got some silver lining. Well, Jonathan McMahon, I appreciate you popping out in here. We hope we can put a little bit of a smile in your face as we watch some silly Soprano action tonight in 2 very good episodes. And Matt and I are both sending you and your family some love, my friend. Now,
so here they are being.
I was just about to name people we went to school. Yeah, this is the middle school tables where where Matt wouldn't let me sit with him and his friends. It's right there. That's The Fugitive, right there.
Yeah,
he's watching The Fugitive right there. And then he's listening to music, and then we get into some.
It's like Clapton sitting right there at his house.
Yep, Derek and the Dominoes right there, and we eventually get into some. This scene ends with him listening to Break.
And anyone who's ever listened to that album knows what that means. He definitely was not sober.
No.
And it's the end of that album that he's listening.
Now, just for many different reasons. No, I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say. I'm not gonna say what I was just gonna say. I'm calling it in. I'll get in the bedroom. Yeah, we can get. Yeah, one time you want to wake me up. It's a movie about a family that's fallen apart or some sub, according to Michael Imperioli. Lotus. Good girl. Polly's shirt reminds me of him too.
And they're just blaring some bagpipes there. Although that actually could be from. There's bagpipes in that movie too, though.
And I love that he ends it all listening to Pink Floyd, which also Pink Floyd comes up a few times on this series, most notably a cover version of Comfortably Numb in Christopher's final moments.
But it's also, that's right in his wheelhouse for when he was like smoking weed as a teenager would have been what he was listening to.
100%. As he turns back on.
This is weird that he's watching a movie with
Dude, isn't that a little weird?
Now, the more I'm thinking about it, I'm like, no, that's really fucked up. Like,
the thing that deals with this best is, I don't think you are, Matt, but I feel like you aren't, but Jen is a Scrubs fan, but I could be making that up in my mind. There's an episode of Scrubs where the janitor on Scrubs was also in The Fugitive, and they kind of play on that moment in the show where Zach Braff's character,
in The Fugitive?
He just plays a cop that stops him on a train or something. Goes, "Stop, Kimball, stop," or something like that. There's a moment.
Oh, he gets killed by the other guy. Shoots him in the train.
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
And there's an episode of Scrubs where they get way into that, where it's like, "That's you," and it's like he's like, "It is me. It is actually me," and
that's funny.
There's some kind of funny shit right here with Joey Pants is in that. I mean, Joey Pants. It's amazing when you start to really look at his filmography. I feel like we could do a whole show just on his career. I think the first movie I ever saw him in was Midnight Run. It's just so weird. Like, he's in the Matrix movies. He's in Memento. He's the Memento. Yeah, he's the best part of the first Matrix. He's the best part of not the best part. He's one of the best parts of one of the first Christopher Nolan movies. He's in tons of stuff. There's more shit that I'm just not thinking of right off the bat.
You know what it's like? You know who's in all movies like that too is Newman from Seinfeld.
Yeah.
And there's like
he's in JFK. He's in Jurassic Park.
He's in Jurassic Park. There's
more.
Yeah. What's the movie with what's her name opening her legs?
Basic Instinct. Yep.
He's in Basic Instinct. I can tell we're the same age, Phil, because I said, "What's her name?" opening her legs, and you know exactly what movie I'm talking about.
Right. There's a lot of other answers depending on how old I am that I could answer.
And here's Tony just breaking out his.
I'll take this.
Yeah. Let me just do this in cash right now.
He was also, he's just been in Joey Pants' Risky Business. Joey Pants was in. He was in Eddie and the Cruisers. He was in La Bamba. He was in. I'm skipping over a lot of stuff too, but just he's been in The Fugitive. He was in the sequel.
Oh, hold on. What were you skipping over that you named Eddie and the Cruisers? Like that's what didn't make the cut that Eddie and the Cruisers did. That's what's horrifying.
The Adventures of the Easter Egg.
That's fair.
that just popped up in the but yeah. Point is, Joey Pants has been in a lot of freaking shit. Oh, this isn't awkward, Matt. I don't know. Oh, Joey Pants was in Calendar Girl, the Jason Priestley vehicle that quite didn't launch Jason Priestley's acting career.
For anyone who doesn't know this, Phil is maybe the world's biggest 90210 fan. So Jason Priestley is a big part of his life.
He was. I love me some Brandon Walsh, and he was obviously Joey Pants was in the Bad Boy movies.
There's right now as I'm speaking, although I don't know when you're going to hear it, there's 38:43 left.
Yeah, if it helps, Tony is about
right after the nudity. If that helps.
Right after the nudity, and Tony's going in the bathroom and to make sure she's opening up the salt.
Someone's
container.
about to fuck with the salt.
Yeah,
shaker.
someone's about to fuck with the salt container. Exactly. And this episode is story by David Chase. It's written by Lawrence Konner and directed by Daniel.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't love the whole prank thing. How he plays it on Carmela as being like, I don't know. I think they forced that angle of this, but.
I mean, I think they're doing it in a sense to more show how far Carmela is with somebody else. I didn't realize it at the time. I'll give full credit to Michael Imperioli for pointing this out. When we go into this next scene where Carmela's in the shower, she's singing the Furio song.
That's so fucked up.
So it's just showing how off she is. But I think she even realizes after the fact that she shouldn't have freaked out as much. And I love how Tony refers to this later in this episode. I just need to get to a place where I commit. And I'm just remembering before we get to them how many great scenes are in this episode. This has one of my favorite Janice and Tony scenes coming up.
Yeah.
That's just so incredibly well done. And people may ask the question, but you don't really need to ask it. Why does Tony always attract himself to that similar kind of crazy or something? Is they're all versions or different versions of Livia in some ways, right?
Yeah, and he also is attracting women who are attracted to him. Not every girl is going to be attracted to
no, and in some it's
like he's not physically attractive. I mean, we know why people are attracted to him. There's a power, bad boy. There's all those elements that make him attractive.
Are you saying people don't want to have sex with Fred Flintstone? Is that what you're saying?
Just slightly. Or Peter Griffin, without the glasses.
So yeah, Tony's getting his mall gift. It was great while it lasted. Love ya, Tony. Cold-blooded Jason Priestley masterpiece. I love me some Jason Priestley. He's especially a good director, and hockey player. He's a really good hockey player. Oh no, Matt, how much does this hurt you?
So awkward. Yeah, I'm a big blackjack player and a math person, so this is
this painful right here. Did they show what the dealer was showing too? Not that it matters.
It doesn't matter.
I know, but it's even worse if the dealer has
No, because she's mad because she would have hit the 15. So whatever it was like a.
I should have made 20. I should have made 20.
She was going to hit a 15, so the dealer must have had a decent card show her.
I mean, in fairness, what's happening right here, this is pretty cruel, but that happens in every blackjack table in the world. There's someone yelling at somebody else for making the wrong move.
Oh, they yell at me. You're never supposed to surrender. And I'm like, yeah, I'm literally playing mathematically correct blackjack, but yeah.
But yeah, listen, she's singing.
I mean, let me ask you this: what happens if Furio hits on? She would hook up with him, right?
Yeah, I mean, she tried to hook up with the priest. I mean, in the first episode, she tried, and there's the Fix It dude. Is that already happened, right? Mr. Fix It.
Did Mr. Fix? This is the problem, Phil. When we do this show,
yeah, it already happened. That already happened because that's with Davey Scatino. Yeah, me too, Gotti. I love the way Nucci says, "I was hoping for a 3."
Yeah.
Then go play blackjack alone. I mean, that would suck. Having someone, have you ever been in this situation where someone pours cold water onto you when you're in the shower?
Oh, I'm sure I did, but it's with like guy roommates probably.
Yeah, I feel
if
like
I did that to my wife, she would
would she murder
not
you?
talk to me. Yeah, she's not into like being scared or pranked or anything like that. Not her thing at all. And my wife is very fun, and so I don't want to make it sound like she sucks, but
yeah, no, your wife is hilarious.
Just the pranking part of it.
This is okay. So this
is such a weird angle for him to
so
take.
awkward too. It's so freaking awkward.
But it's like, how can he flex? And he's like doing the best he knows how, which is go to school. He also knows this guy's kind of a mark. He knows this guy was a nerd when they were younger. He knows this guy knows who he is. He knows this guy is scared of him.
I mean, this guy isn't scared of him enough at first. He has to prove a point later.
Yeah.
I love this whole situation too, where he's like, what did you say? 8th grade was his last, or 9th grade was his last? He said 9th grade, I think.
He says I cleared up in 10th grade. He says, yeah, 9th was my last.
I'm trying to think. I mean, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna say anything. But no, we went to school with some people that in junior high school. And I'm not gonna say names necessarily, but they were on their 6th or 7th year. It seemed like in junior high school. But there was this kid. First name began with Joey or whatever.
Yeah.
That he was like. It seemed like in junior high school he was like a 45-year-old junior high school. He was outside smoking Marlboros. He had a beard. He had the hairy chest.
And then we graduated like way before he did from high school.
Right. Exactly. He came in a few. I feel like. No joke, he was around 16 or 17 in middle school still.
Yeah.
I mean, stuck with it. You never left. Yeah, I feel like eventually he was the class behind mine and Michelle's.
Sure?
I think
I wouldn't know at that point.
I think eventually. So this is interesting, and this is so true, having dealt with this even when I was dealing with my mother towards the end, when she was going to sort of dementia and Alzheimer's daycare. Even there, you got the high school, like she could only sit at certain tables with like the cool kid. You know, there was the cool kids.
Weird.
It's even at that point where minds were faculties were there, you still had that high school, middle school table nonsense going on there. And oh my goodness, how could I forget Tony, first of all, being the worst. Lotus, leave it. Tony being the worst cheater of all time. Not that I'm condoning cheating, but he's getting caught all the time with like nails on clothes and stuff. And this sets up.
Yeah, and the thing is this, I thought he was being relatively good at this point outside of her, but here he is with this other blonde too that he's on.
Yeah, with we've seen her a couple of times, and which I want to get to what's going on here in a second. But Carmela, this starts off the line of Carmela being demented and stealing money from the bird feeder. So I hate this. I hate tests like that. If you want me to do something, tell me what to do. Don't get pissed. Don't tell me to make a decision, and then I make the decision you don't want, and you get pissed at me. Could they have said anything? If they went in the other direction, Tony would have probably freaked out about that. He
just wants to give himself a reason to be involved with stuff.
Yeah, because he's bored, which is why he's complicating his life by deciding to fuck Ralphie's ex-girlfriend, or
current girlfriend.
Yeah, of soon.
And then ex.
By the end of the episode, ex. Listen, Richie.
Dude, poor Patsy's just fucking. He's taking it. So is that must be Patsy's wife?
Yeah. No, this is Gumar Night, right?
Official Gumar then, because she's giving him shit the way a wife would.
Yeah, that's probably. Patsy seems like he probably has a traditional Gumar. That's the long-term one-off.
Yeah, Gotti, I know that's not the correct meaning of it. I don't know why they did that. Well, I think they're trying to show that she has no idea what she's talking about.
Yeah, I think malapropisms in general are a big big part of The Sopranos. So this starts this whole side plot where we learn, I mean, we've always learned more about it since the Janice situation about Ralphie's different sexual predilections.
Yeah.
And Richie, you're right. Who cares about that horse? That horse was just a whore. A dirty whore. Thank you to everyone tuning in tonight.
Like, what are they doing right here? They are just playing with fire. That's, well, not really, because at the end of the day, what can Ralphie...
I mean, Tony has been screwing him over on many different levels for a long time. He hit him when he shouldn't have hit him. At some point, there needs to be an end point, right? Where it's too much, where Tony can kind of reach doing too much, even as boss. But no one likes Ralphie. It's a weird situation. But Ralphie makes the most money.
Yeah. Right. And he says the line in the next episode, you know, this is a business at the end of the day. And he knows that. And Tony likes people making him money. That's why he didn't want to clip Vito either. He always loves whoever's going to pat his pockets the most.
Where did Jason Voorhees go? Jason Voorhees sometimes still pops in the live chat, usually when we're doing something Walking Dead.
Yeah, he sort of disappears after Halloween, though. So
yeah. He's got mother.
Although today is the 13th, Phil. Actually,
is it?
But it's a Monday, so.
Well, not
why
really.
Is she telling him this right now? I don't understand why she's telling him this right here at all.
Because she doesn't. Because she doesn't have any boundaries, and I agree with you. They don't really give a shit about Ralph when it really comes down to it. They're almost. It's a power move. On both of their ends. Yeah,
the one thing I was thinking about this before, the difference between Ralphie and say Richie, or even Ralphie and Tony Blundetto, is that like Ralphie's never really a threat to Tony though. It's not like Richie was a threat to Tony. Like there was a chance that Ralphie's never gonna like. There was a time earlier after he hit him where they thought about it, but he's not at this point. He's not really a threat to him.
Would you say
no one would ever rally behind Ralphie? Ralphie's never going to be like a leader of men where people are going to like get behind him and listen to him.
Not really. I mean, there is an element of charisma that Ralphie has. I guess that they've shown through a couple times, but
everyone that knows him knows it's bullshit. We've seen him. The people who are his closest, you know, Eugene and Vito, who are his closest, like people, they know he's an asshole. They support him, but they know he's an asshole.
Speaking of out of her rocker, Carmela trying to get this thing open and not giving a fuck, and Carmela does some really ballsy shit in this episode. When she at the end of the episode putting the nail on Tony's night table and basically just daring him to mention this money. And
right, that's the thing. She knows if he catches her right now, she's like, I found the fucking nail, dude. Like, back the fuck up. She has him.
Yeah.
I love that they show how futile that like hitting it with that shovel was. How there was no chance that was going to work at any point.
So Gotti says, to quote Diana Rigg when Miss Piggy asks why she's telling her so much in the Great Muppet Caper, it's exposition, dear. It has to go somewhere.
You don't get enough Great Muppet Caper references.
It's true. It's one of the most underrated Muppet movies. So let's get into Ralphie's sex thing here. So Tony wraps his mind around it in a weird way that if they don't actually have, because he gets very specific. Could the penis not touch the vulva? Like he gets way specific with it. His brain's trying to wrap, his small, tiny conceptual understanding is trying to understand kink right now. And I love it.
And I think part of him, in addition to trying to understand the kink, I think there's a part of him that's trying to test how fucking crazy she is too. That's why he goes to Janice, because there's got to be a part of him that's like, I can't get involved with another Gloria if that's what this chick is.
Right. No, fair.
Also, who the fuck dates Ralph? You already get a question. Whoever it's
still with Ralph. One of the underrated lines of both episodes coming up here. Do you think where Tony's like, do you think Ralph's weird about sex? And he goes, well, he did. What's he say here? That's just a great line.
Weird about women? I don't know. I mean, he picked one of that just for.
I forget. See, when they use Stevie Van Zandt right, he's so hilarious to put a button on a scene. He's just great. Richie says Tony could have told Crew about Ralphie's kinky dildo or blackmail Ralph for more money. Eventually, he does kind of get into that. He could use that as a tactic against Ralph later, and I bet he would have. Gotti says,
I think if he needed to, he would have, but he likes Ralphie. Tony likes Ralphie right where Ralphie is right now, making him a lot of money, having Pai Oh My, because Tony loves Pai Oh My being in his life without having to be financially responsible for her.
Yeah, he's in a happy situation.
They're making a ton of money.
Yeah, Ralphie is getting him paid, which is the most important thing when it really comes down
Ralphie goes and kicks up to him when his kid's dying in the hospital in the next episode.
Yeah, and he seems impressed by it, where he's like, where he should be giving him consolation. This is a great therapy session too, as we get into this, as Tony's just like, you make me wait, I'm gonna keep going. As someone who spends a lot of my time of my life in therapy, I love the therapy sessions between the two of them. They make me laugh, and I refer to them in my normal therapy. Dystopia, Gotti says, I'm as kinky as the next guy, but I totally wince when she talks about the cheese grater. I'm imagining that Janice is going a step too far, that Ralph never actually suggested a cheese grater, because
did she say that, or did
Janice says it when she says
Janice is the cheese guy? I forget which one of her.
Oh no, you might be right. It might be.
I think she said it right there.
You're right.
She was talking about the hot wax.
You guys are right. It's I think she's just taking it a step far to kind of put. I can imagine that Ralphie maybe joked about it, but they're not going to play with the cheese grater because that's a thing you don't come back from, right? Like, especially one of those fine Parmesan cheese graters. That's gonna.
Yeah, I don't see how that's like a.
That's
That's not like a. That's not a kink. That's not like a.
Yeah,
it's not like hot wax on your balls,
or even clamps, or some
being stepped on,
or some easy piercings. That's messy. That's messy. No one wants that, right?
That's a trip to the ER.
Yes, exactly, Matt. Luna says, wasn't Ralphie abused by his... They more than hint at it in this next scene, coming off this moment where Tony basically goes all therapy friend on Ralphie, and Ralphie just ignores it. It's in the scene with our... Matt was talking about... It's in our one...
Penisary contact with her vulva. So he's hung up on the fact that he only wants to be with Valentina if
she doesn't fuck Ralph.
She hasn't actually fucked Ralph
because
yet.
In the mafia sense of following the rules, he fits into not stealing someone's girl because Ralph isn't really in right in the mafia sense of the definition isn't really giving it to her.
This is like the way that like Mormons get around having sex. They have.
Rationale. There's
soaking is what they do.
Loopholes.
Mormons. Yeah.
Interesting use of flashback or memory gram thing right there, where he gets a quick image of Ralphie with her and can't quite deal with it. Richie says Ralphie and Tony did make a lot of money in that HUD scam. The subtitles say vulva instead of Volvo. That's because they can't handle all Tony's improvs. James Gandolfini's random word improvs. As Carmela again stewing at the house, imagining what Tony is. Oh no, this is where she goes and steals the bird feeder money.
Yeah. While he's singing more Pink Floyd.
Pink Floyd, yeah. Hi Lotus, this is ballsy as hell, Carmela.
But what is he gonna do?
That at this point, she already probably says, I have a bullet in my gun. If he gets at all pissed off about me, I'm gonna use it. Fuck him.
Yeah.
And you gotta give her credit, or I don't know. It's a big move by Carmela, considering everything that she knows about Tony, but I think she doesn't really care at this point.
No. And she did her research. She knows that she can only go do $9,900.
No. Don't you just want to hug this woman?
There's your new girl, Phil. This is your.
She is.
She's. Before this, if you guys weren't listening earlier on, Phil has a little bit of a thing for Livia.
A little bit.
Phil has a lot of thing for Livia. So I think maybe you're just into really old Italian women.
I am. That would track with my history, Matt. But I thought Send the very
I
best.
care to send the very best.
Oh my! That might be the sweetest line in the history of The Sopranos.
Phil, keep your pants on.
Matt, I can't do it. I'm single and I'm losing my mind with Nucci love.
I did it all for the Nucci.
I did it
Come
all
on, the Nucci.
So I could get her coochie. No, I'm
so I can get her coochie. All right, we're done.
We're done. We should end the show right here and retire, Matt, on that.
Yeah, once we jump the shark into Limp Bizkit.
No, I mean I'm literally going to like record a karaoke version of that song with.
Did it all for the Nucci.
Did it all for the Nucci. But yeah, this guy I believe is not really an actor.
Is that the guy you were talking about?
Yeah, he's not an actor. He was a poet or something, and a friend of the actor who played Furio that he suggested for this role, and they flew both of them out to Italy to shoot this, which is kind of cool. And it was, this guy I guess says this was the highlight of his life to be a part of The Sopranos in such a, such a prominent kind of situation. We did it all for the Nucci, so we can get the coochie and stick it up your.
Yeah, he's got to keep that Nucci coochie in the Gucci. So.
Stick it up your. So I love this whole scene, and I love his advice to him. And it also shows a lot the future of Furio being able to come back here. Yeah, Tony's a boss in that situation, but once Furio goes back to Italy, Tony's not getting him. No, at the end of all of this, and we'll talk more about this because there's only a few moments. There's nothing happened to Furio. Furio's safe in Italy. He never even kissed her. Good. Stay away. Bosses find out everything. Yeah, Carmela almost, in the first season, almost had
I love her. Jesus.
Well, I guess bosses find everything out. Stop with the rhetorical questions. Furio, I mean, we're talking underrated performances and stuff. When I first watched The Sopranos, Matt, I was convinced that Furio was a native Italian and not some dude that has a voice like this in reality. And he does a very convincing real accent that I never ever questioned.
He does a very convincing real ponytail, too.
The ponytail is real.
Unlike, well, we're about to see next episode.
Unlike mine.
Someone else's hair.
Oh, unlike, which... I'm trying to think if I knew before this scene. I might have discovered as Christopher was discovering it. Oh, is this Carmela's? Are we at Carmela's baller moment? Is this it? As she's watching. Speaking of, is that the other ponytail you were talking about, Matt? Right there.
Yeah, Mario Batali's got a hell of a.
Look at that thing. I forgot that Mario Batali had a ponytail. Thank you, Gotti, for checking on in here. We appreciate it.
Oh my God!
Oh, the Furio song. So basically, now is my chance with Carmela. Oh no, we're still early in this episode, or early-ish.
I love this.
My regular customers are the ones who pay.
She's great.
She also knows she can mouth off to him and he can't do anything.
Yep, especially in that situation. I don't think she likes it. No one likes you. Sonic, your boy, in the Sopranos universe, the priest is so well fed and he has all the gossip. He has everything he wants.
He could have had Carmela if he wanted it.
And he probably has hooked up with Matt's dog and Rosalia Prio.
So good.
That line there, I never fucked so long or so good. See, now he knows he's completely full of shit. Or Valentina's full of shit.
No, do you hear exactly how Ralphie verbalized that? He gave his hand up. He said, I've never been fucked so hard or long.
Yes.
He doesn't say, we fuck so hard and long, or I fucked her so hard, or we make love so hard, whatever. He specifically says she's fucking him. So he basically says it out loud that she's banging him. Not, which gives Tony the answers he needs to hear.
You ever think about your mother? She's dead.
She's dead. Oh my God. Joey Pants, man. They really pick an amazing couple of episodes to send Joey Pants out on. They give him some of his best stuff.
Is this like what year do you think this is? Because The Matrix is 99. Is this pre or post Matrix?
This episode post 2002.
Oh, it's definitely post then. Okay.
Tell your mother to be patient. Things will
I feel like this was the next big Joey Pants thing, unless Bad Boys was in the middle there.
I'm speaking from years of experience.
This is a great scene too, and I love how Polly, who's so freaked out about bodily stuff, is kind of just like not giving a shit till she starts saying the stuff about keeping her teeth out. They were talking about this in the Talking Sopranos, and I remember this as well. It was my grandmother. She would always throw out her teeth, and I'd be going through the trash looking for them, or
They just got their teeth pulled back in the day and just had those friggin'. My grandparents both had them.
Yep. Yeah.
Like in the bathroom, they were little holders for their teeth.
Yeah. Like similar to what people will have for mouth guards now, but no, but way grosser.
She's going to have to make more of an effort. You might want to talk to her about this.
And for some reason, where again, they would take out their teeth to eat.
Yeah. Oh, here's Christopher dropping the ball again. Is this Christopher dropping the ball here?
Probably. If he's calling Christopher, he's dropping the ball. No,
definitely. Oh yeah, there he is. Someone's about to drop the ball.
Look at that nose. Look at that schnoz. I love how Christopher is still, through everything, even though he's fucking up, he will still talk back. He's never afraid to just to snap back at Tony more than anybody else. Which makes you ask the question, which is a consistent question, I think, in The Sopranos, and that's something that they're able to do that helps it be eternal. And I often talk about this. There's very few things that date the series on it. We don't know how long it's been, how many weeks it's been in this situation. She says it's been a long time no see. But it's probably been a couple weeks between the last time that we've checked, that the last time we saw the two of them, between each scenes of The Sopranos. Yeah. We don't... Usually it's not, this is the next day, it's the next day, it's the next day. Sometimes it is. Oh my goodness, Matt, it's Tony Pajamas! Welcome to the stream, Mr. Tony Pajamas.
Uh-oh, it's Benny Faziano,
criminal mastermind, Benny Faziano.
And the idiot nephew.
Have you seen Doogie Howser, MD? Oh, is that glass Coke? No, glass Diet Coke.
Glass Diet Coke.
Oh my goodness, gross. Yeah, exactly. Who wants the gross? Get some glass Coke Zero or something.
Seriously.
Tony Pajama says Ralphie did not kill the horse, in my opinion. This is not 100% as I thought it was going to be, Matt. And we don't just have 2 votes. We have a bunch of votes so far. And right now it's 81-19. Yes
on.
To no.
You didn't ask definitely. You just said, did Ralph kill the horse?
Yeah, did Ralph? That's what I'm saying. Did you? Yeah, I didn't put the word definitely in. Are we playing Brady Bunch exact words? The implication of my damn ass question is, did Ralph really kill the horse or not?
I just want to see you sometimes, a couple nights a week.
I love.
I mean, it's obviously intentionally vague as to whether or not they did.
It is, and they set it up in a way that it makes it look like it could or it couldn't. I tend to err on the side that he did do it, but
Why not?
I think. But here's the question. If Tony isn't dating Valentina, does he do it?
No, I think I
think this is a way he can fucking crush Tony without being out of line.
100%, and he puts him in a he thinks he puts Tony in that fuck you position that Carmela put him in the sense where he can't do anything about it. Like, I just put you in a fuck you position. Oh, Luna makes the excellent point here. The fire actually killed the horse. Fair.
This
Fair
is
point.
very correct.
Fair point, Luna.
Actually, the fire didn't kill the horse. They had to put the horse down because of the burns.
Right. Pie o' mine. Survived the fire. I forgot about that. As Tony goes back into the mall again. Are malls even a thing now? Do people go to the mall? When was the last time you were at a mall?
I will say this. I actually went to a store at the mall the other day up here, but it was like it was a Kohl's. It was on the outside of the mall. But this time of year, people go to the mall. But just this time of year, kids don't go there to hang out anymore.
There's no such thing as like mall rats anymore and that kind of shit.
I think people just, dude. I also live in Vermont. Like, there's one mall in the whole state, and no one goes to it. So, but I don't think it's actually used as like kids going there to hang out. I think it's really just for like to shop for certain times of the year.
Right, to pick up online orders and stuff. So here we go with maybe the best scene in all the history of The Sopranos altogether here. Janice and Tony talking about sex here. As she's watching Robot Wars for some reason on television. Janice is so eclectic. She's making Bobby Bacala shirts, Bobby Jr. shirts, and she's watching Robot Wars. And at what point in this whole situation is Janice starting to calculate the dollars? I think already. I think at this already Janice is calculating the Tony, how much is this worth to Tony right now? To the look in her face. She's like, money? Oh, money. I love Janice so much. As much as I love my girl Olivia, and I'm upset about what happened to Nancy Marsan, I wish they could have played out her storyline. If that didn't happen, we might not have got as much Janice as we did, and the show is better for having Janice on the show. She's so 100%. Good. She's so good. She probably still would have showed up occasionally, but she wouldn't have been as mainstay of a character for at least most of a whole year until Livia's story.
And she only plays a bigger and bigger role moving forward.
Yep. $3,000. Tony. The smile on Tony's face. He's so impressed by Janice's Janice.
Yeah.
He's just like,
Where'd you come up with that number from?
Where'd you come up with that number?
It's the number I thought you'd say yes to.
Go. You're right. Go. That's such a great moment. I kind of bought him from the top, Matt.
I'm sure you do. I don't think anyone would argue with that.
I don't go as far as Ralph, but sometimes it's fun to be in control but not be in control. But I love how Tony's like, you gave me everything I needed to hear. You know, all I needed to hear was that you didn't like having he doesn't like to have sex.
He couldn't get off by having regular sex.
Yeah. And he wouldn't do it if he wants to.
So because now Tony not only gets to get laid, he gets to believe what this girl tells him.
And this is a great line too, where he's like, I just wanted to make sure I could commit. And Luna says, you could always trust Janice to be Janice. We also have another amazing Janice being Janice scene in the next episode with the Lig. And when Svetlana shows up. And
oh my God.
And Janice.
How great is Svetlana?
You a stupid woman. You bore me.
Yeah. You bore me. She's so funny.
It's so Russian too. Just the way she's just like
It's so Russian. It's so like, I have no fear of you. Like, I don't give a fuck. You need me.
As Tony, dude, I'm poor as shit. I know every dollar in my piggy bank. If I was rich, I'd probably know every dollar in my bird feeder. Tony is freaking out right now because he knows exactly down to the last cent how much money's in there, and 40 grand.
No, and he knows that he also knows that whoever took it knew that he would notice.
Do you think he kind of almost immediately figures it out, but I don't think he has any doubts right off from the bat. It has to be Carmela.
Yeah, anyone else would have just taken it all.
Mm-hmm. And AJ doesn't have the balls. Like, AJ would never do that.
No.
You're afraid of it. Of course he is, and so am I. This is a stupid thing for your son to get hurt over.
Mom is such
This is one of the best lines I've ever heard. I didn't live 84 years to have to be nice to somebody I don't like. Yeah. Haven't I earned that right?
Mom, I'm going to have to say this.
I hear her, but she's being kind of unreasonable here, Matt. Do you know she doesn't? It's almost like these friends of Nucci know who Paulie is, but they don't really conceptualize it. The other one ends up.
Well, they don't realize it's going to affect them.
The other one, maybe a little bit more so in that direct situation when she's facing with Paulie in the room, and she should probably play that situation a little differently. As Tony looks down, and at this point, maybe this is where he realizes it was Carmela that stole the money, because Carmela purposely in one of the
Well, he may be wondering if Carmela took it, why did she take it? And now he just kind of knows.
right.
That, like,
and that was one of the most cold-hearted, ballsy poker moves I've ever seen in the history of poker. Phil Hellmuth and Daniel Negreanu and the ghost of Droyle Bronson would be friggin' excited about that move. Carmela puts that chip out there, is like, here you go.
And she knows he's not going to say anything. And she's not going to say anything. She's just going to say coffee tone.
Yep, and she plays this so good.
Any decaf?
And the decaf thing is a giveaway of what Tony usually does in situations where he's about to commit violence or he's questioning somebody. He usually asks them for something that they don't like. Do you have a cup of water? Do you have mineral water or something? Like he'll push it a little bit more as he asks for the decaf, and he's just kind of.
You sure you want that to be your last drink before they kill Matthew Bevilacqua?
Exactly. The diet tab, was it?
It's like a diet Fanta, I think.
Oh, it was diet Fanta. You're correct.
Diet tab. Tab is all fat diet.
I'm sure there's a diet tab, though. That being said, Tony is just measuring, talking to Carmela this whole scene, but they're not talking to each other. And
it's freezing out there. He's such a little bitch.
Yeah. I'm not going. We have gutters? What are gutters? Tony did, Richie. He had money all over the place, not to mention how much money we know he has with the Russians. He probably has a couple million stored away with Svetla, whatever his name was.
That's the other thing. Throughout all of this, I don't think at any point in The Sopranos I really have an idea of how much money Tony actually has. I don't think he knows either because it's liquid. It's all over the place.
Hesh kind of plays it out in that last season, around $7 million total with assets and stuff. But that's as close as we find out, really. Look at that look. Look at that look. Damn. And Tony just eats it because what can he do there? Like, really?
Nothing.
He's fucked. Let's just let it play in, Matt.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll fuck it up, but sure.
We're gonna just play right into the next episode, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Anyone that's checking on in?
Phil, is yours about to switch in
no
5, 4 now?
Now it just switched. You can hear it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's perfect with mine again. Well, close enough.
Awesome. Let's see. I'm going to be right back. Take over, Garth. I'm going to go fill my drink.
Take over, Garth. Okay. Why? I don't know why I Garth when you leave, Phil, but I definitely do. Oh, I can't hear it anymore because Phil left. I'm just reading the credits. How it's changed from season to season. Thank you, Sonic, you boy. I appreciate it. Appreciate the support. No, it's the credits, so I don't have anything I have to do during this. We're just gonna. Hopefully, you guys are watching or can maybe hear it in the background softly.
Here we go. Now, Matt, I like a lot of Soprano episodes we've talked about, and I've said this about a few. This might be one of my favorite episodes of all the entire series from beginning to end. It's a perfect episode. We start with this Junior stuff, Junior falling down the stairs, and the beginning of the Junior's mind sort of zipping off.
You know what the most Junior moment of it all? He turns his head around because he can't, in his own words, it was probably that coos that he couldn't keep his mind out of. As soon as he knows the woman that wants to talk to him, he just gets smitten immediately.
Yep. Yeah, it's his ego.
He's always a sucker for that. Like, that's how they were recording him at the doctor's.
9, 8, 7. Luna says, after all the shit Tony pulled during their marriage, if I were her, I would have taken the money too. Fuck him. Absolutely. And I love how she sort of calls him that in
And
that situation.
look at how he immediately takes Carmela down to see Pie on My. He's like, well, let me do something nice for my wife.
Yep. And distract her. Yeah, exactly. Distract her.
And you know, Carmela did say when she was talking to Ro, you know, I got over all the Gumas shit years ago.
She's lying, though.
The question, what did Carmela do with the money? They showed her going, she goes and invests it in like 5 different places, putting $9,900 in 4 or 5 different investment accounts.
Right. So so she doesn't get the reporting to the IRS at 10,000.
Yeah.
And eventually we learn that all that money got lost. She loses it all. Which doesn't really make sense if she put it in a bunch of safe stuff. It would at least slowly.
Yeah, if I don't know what she could have put it in that would 5 different things that all would have gone to zero in the period of a couple of years.
Right, that would have been some really, really bad luck. I think Tony probably exaggerated.
Diversified to the point where you lost everything, that makes no sense.
Right, they're probably going up at like 1% or something like that, and Tony considers that losing all the money.
My daughter's addressing the Irish.
This guy. They never quite dictate if this guy's a good lawyer or not, but he's hilarious.
Like, you know immediately you love Tony's lawyer, and you think Tony's lawyer is awesome.
This guy's a friggin' shyster.
I'll be back Monday. Feel better.
So at this point, Junior's lost, and Dominic, the actor that plays Junior, plays it so just so perfect and so seamless interacting between losing his mind and coming back.
Yeah. And where you never know until he's really gone, until he starts wandering around, you don't know how much, or until he sees him and Bobby, until he's watching Curb
Your Enthusiasm,
and he thinks it's him and Bobby.
But even at that point, you can kind of get it. Janice with no tact, insulting the doctor to his face the minute she walks in the door. You're like, fuck you, Janice.
Why don't you take it easy? You think so?
Okay, this right here might be one of the single funniest Soprano scenes of all time. As we don't drop the joke thing, Ralphie puts together who told it.
It was little Paulie, the witless fucking nephew. He told Paulie. Paulie tells Johnny.
It's like,
Fucking telephone game like high school
and
girl.
again, we said this earlier in the last episode. You can focus on Joey Pants playing this and how amazing he plays it, and he doesn't miss a beat with the take. He's lightning with this phony phone call.
And who else would have told? Because the other person would have had to have a line to Johnny Sack, like have Johnny Sack's ear, and B, be willing to do something that's that like suicidal. And he's the only one that would have done that.
What makes the comedy in this scene, Matt, isn't necessarily what Joey Pants is saying, but it's great. It's the reaction of all the guys in the room listening, and Nucci. She sells this so much.
Come on.
I've fallen and I can't go. Like, she looks like that's what she looks.
He starts right off with the Detective Mike Hunt too. He doesn't like. He goes right into it.
Hey, do you have a son, Peter Powell?
We found him in a public men's room in Lafayette Park. I don't know how to put this delicately. He was sucking a Cub Scout stick. No, it's a mistake. Ma'am, I wish that was all.
Vito, stop laughing.
But I'm afraid we had to have emergency surgery performed upon arrival at headquarters after discovery of a small rodent in the rectal passage. Gerbil, ma'am. The county does not cover medical procedures deemed caused by criminal.
It's the best line in the series right here.
Section 4, paragraph 15.
What is the whole, I got Blue Cross Blue Shield.
I have Blue Cross Blue Shield, is that right?
And Matt, you're so right. It's such a genuine line that anyone's real mom, older mom,
out of touch grandmother that's like, I have Blue Cross Blue Shield. Yeah.
As we kick to Junior, who all the little mundane stuff that Junior does is hilarious to me, as he's sipping orange juice through a straw.
See, even right here where he thinks
he's sharp. I think he's sharp in this scene.
Yeah.
Tommy former cola. Cola Joe. Tommy former cola died a few years ago.
Yeah, shut up.
Jesus Christ, you had me worried there for a minute.
I love how Tony continues with the malaprops and he says his Holstein, not his.
Yeah.
Confused and you flunked your Holstein or something.
And Holstein's is the restaurant and that they're in the final episode
Glad you're feeling better.
of The Sopranos.
Huh.
That's the name of that restaurant. Holstein's. So Junior seems more with it, connecting with this, as Tony takes advantage of the situation. But when we get into his actual examination, he's back to being lost. And he's actually really failing that.
You think so?
I think partly, yes.
No, not the John F. Kennedy thing. We already know he loves John F. Kennedy.
No, but I think eventually in some parts of that, he's actually...
Well, that's the whole thing. We don't know where he's faking, where he isn't. Oh, we cut to this.
These dumbass fucking... Who's playing this game? Matt, you work with kids. You've worked with kids. Kids are... You're one of them's holding a bow and... Like, who have... No! Kids aren't that stupid. Someone's going to send me
First of all,
art.
kids are that stupid.
They are, I know. It's just ridiculous.
Tide Pod challenges, like, they literally have gotten dumber.
Someone's going to send me tons of articles of this happening in real life.
Justin, baby.
I don't know what to do. The boy, he
You call 911.
Shut up! Nobody move. Don't touch her.
So I just want to think about the logistics of this. So the maid babysitter came all the way out and then ran back for Ralph and didn't call 911 and then ran back out there? And this is a crazy tense scene where
Is Vito sitting on his lap? Because that's a...
I mean, they were cuddling a little bit, but where Ralph is just eyeballing down this kid like, I'm going to kill this kid that did this. And this is what I mean, Matt, with this episode. Joey Pants, they give him the myriad of emotions to get to play every part of Ralphie in this episode to say goodbye.
And Ralphie really is like a fucked up monster, so you don't know. But he is really feeling that, and now he's realizing he's been a piece of shit his whole life.
And that's what this show does so well, where you focus on a monster like this. And at the time that this show came out, it wasn't normal place to have characters like this be put in positions like this. Ralphie is a psychotic murderer, but you can't help but feel sympathy for him in this moment. Or I feel, or I should rephrase, because someone can help. I can't help but feel sympathy for him in this moment.
was supposed to take him to the archery range.
And this actress, too, that plays this character, Ralph's wife, has a very minor role, but we understand her and Ralph's relationship immediately, and they have real, like, we were married chemistry, and she kills this scene. We got the amazing dwarf Burgess Swamp beard.
Then he calls her the cunt, and that's where it's over the line.
And then he's like, yeah.
And that guy doesn't care. He's like, I'm gonna fight you, which he would be.
Great to see Devin in the live chat. He said Ralph killed the goddamn horse. He did.
He was in the Goonies. You're 100% right. That's the first place we know him from.
He's one of the Fratelli brothers.
Fucking Fratelli.
And that's how I would have known he's bald anyway in that movie.
No, he has hair as a Fratelli, doesn't he?
I think he takes it off at some point. I think it shows it's a wig, but I could be wrong. Speaking of bald bastards, we're back with Junior Soprano.
4-hour-a-day nursing care because they're still going to rule out the dementia and you might be a danger to yourself and blah, blah, blah.
Which only bolsters our case.
I mean, this is a smart move. It ends up, I think, not working, right? And Bobby eventually needs to get to the juror, is how this eventually plays out.
I believe they send Eugene in, if I remember correctly. Eugene finds the juror in a convenience store with his kid.
Right, that's the conclusion of all this. So ultimately, none of this really ends up working because Junior gets on medication, I think, eventually. They've realized when he wanders off, when he goes to the neighbor and ends up wandering off, they eventually get him on medication that kind of turns it around for a while. as this is one of the best editing jobs in The Sopranos right here, coming up as Rosalie's like gives him all this sympathy. He's like, yeah, he's gonna be okay, he's gonna be wonderful, and then they immediately do a fast cut to her saying to Carmela, he's gonna be a vegetable.
Yeah.
It's dark comedy at its best. And yes, he is amazing in The Goonies, and that probably was the first thing I saw. I think I'm trying to think in my mind if I saw, even though I was a kid, if I saw Midnight Run before I saw The Goonies, I might have. But it was one of those two movies that were my first time seeing.
You would have seen The Midnight Run before Goonies? That's a...
Maybe.
But again, he's just an actor in those movies. He's not someone you're recognizing from anything else.
No, I think his first breakout role was probably Insomnia or The Matrix, in the sense where you would be like, that's Joey Pants. Those break... La Bamba was huge too, as I said. Yeah, La Bamba, thank you, chat. 100%. La Bamba. I might be doing that, but Artie, who's still flirting. This is post the Armagnac situation? No, it isn't post. Yeah, it is post the Armagnac situation.
Because she just said he took the overdose of pills.
Yeah, and she's still working. Wait, she's still working there? Wow. Because I guess at this point Tony took the debt, and now the brother is paying off.
Yeah, Joe, fuck around. Because when that government shit gets a hold of you, you better know how to fake this.
So somewhere in the middle of this scene, again, this is just Dominic's amazing acting as Junior here. He changes and he starts to lose it. Like right there, he falls out of motion there.
And give it back. These demented old bats can't do that.
Maybe you should just wipe your ass with the paper, then they'll know you're a whack job.
You think this is funny?
And suddenly he's getting ornery about it.
I pretend to wipe my ass in front of people.
Take it easy.
I lived my whole life with dignity. Now I gotta pretend I'm a fucking drooling idiot. Scumbuddy.
Scuba. What? Oh yeah, and we get. I forgot that they mentioned Eckley again.
Second Eckley reference. Erkley.
Maybe the last one.
Let's do another question.
That's one of those Junior lines that I use often. Fucking Grand Central Station.
This is amazing.
the look, just the look, the sarcastic cigarette smoking. The smile is just.
You're a
boring woman. I guess this is a theme of the evening, Matt. There's so many small actors or small parts that there are no small parts. There's small actors. Smaller roles in this series with such memorable performances. And I don't know who's on the show more. I really don't. I'm going to guess it's Svetlana, not Irina. But both those characters, but especially Svetlana, is so memorable of a character. She's so believable in this role. And the way they filmed it with the leg and stuff. And I was surprised. Again, I thought they got somebody that really... was missing a leg to play the part. I was just amazed to see.
She isn't?
No.
I didn't know she's not.
No, that's all like creative filming tactics and shit.
Maybe better CGI than what they did on Livia.
We just kind of went over it, but there we got in the listen for our sympathy for the devil lines in this scene.
Yeah.
Were you there when? There's a lot of them. Right here.
When Jesus Christ had his moment of doubt and pain.
Make damn sure the piper left his hands into his face.
It's a great mystery to us.
Sorry, I'm just getting a flash of Nick in my head.
And interestingly, it's not really tied into it, but we do have that later reference when he starts talking about John Kennedy later.
Yep.
Just because there's a line in it about the Kennedys. They're not related whatsoever, but it just happens to be.
But still, it was obviously intentional, and to your point, to go against my point, I think it's to imply through that even in the hierarchy of a bunch of horrible people, there are even worse folks, and Ralphie's one of the worst. I mean, we've done this before, but as this is Ralphie's final episode, of all the people that we meet and all these murderers and sociopaths and however you want to call these people these characters that we meet on The Sopranos, from a character standpoint, if we're making that good person versus bad person scale of who the best people in this crew are, Bobby Bacala's towards the top, and would Ralphie be the bottom? Would he be the absolute, if Bobby is the best guy?
Not counting people like Mustang Sally and random one-offs. We're talking real.
Our main character group.
Okay.
That are one of us. So I want to exclude Artie and maybe Carmela and some of the wives. Just our crew of...
So worst person?
The worst person. It's Ralphie, right?
I think so, but I think he's so mentally ill that it's hard to even, like Richie's maybe a bigger asshole, but he's crazy.
But he's not, and I guess we did to Beansy and stuff. That guy that, what was the name of the character that went up on Meadow and drunk in the bar, the New York...
Oh, yeah.
Butchie.
Not Fat Dominic. Fat Dominic's the one they killed.
No, yeah, it's but whoever that guy is. But that dude.
Justin hooked up to those machines.
So it would probably be Ralphie, though.
No, Devin, it's not Tony.
Tony's close, though, Devin, and that's my point. Tony is not on that polar opposite side. I think Bobby Bacala is. Yeah, I think Bobby Bacala would be the best of them. Benny Fazio, criminal mastermind, maybe.
Yeah, Bobby would love to do this job or live this life without anyone ever getting hurt.
Yes, if he never wanted, if he didn't beat the shit out of Tony because of the Monopoly game, Janice down by the boardwalk, blowing some roadies, if that didn't happen, Bobby probably never would have killed somebody.
Yeah, or even wanted someone to suffer outside of, like,
he still would have got killed.
Running numbers or do whatever, yeah.
He still would have got killed because of the New York thing. Like, all that still would have happened, the Blue Comet stuff. But Bobby would have died never killing somebody. As they both have a moment of being like, AJ's stupid enough to play that game with bow and arrow.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's not a total idiot. He didn't almost die in 3 inches of water, but that was...
That's Jackie Jr.
That's Jackie Jr.
Jackie Jr. would totally be... Okay, if we're making the stupid scale, I think Jackie Jr. is up top there. But evil scale, I think Ralphie's probably the most... Ralphie or Tony's damn close. Devin's right. Tony's damn close.
He's not, because Tony... Name a time Tony did this to just, like, a random innocent person.
I'll keep bringing up the friggin' what's his friggin' name? The bartender there, fucking Georgie.
Oh, fuck Georgie.
Oh God, that's your point. There is you want to devalue.
Ralphie took the guy's eye out for no reason.
Tony stopped him from hearing. He lost part of his.
Nah, you're way off.
These are the two worst right here talking.
Negative.
He corrupts everybody.
Because Richie's worse than probably all of them. What he did to the thing to Beans.
But he's old school, man. But he's just old school.
Yeah, I'm old school, Janice. He slapped Janice around. I mean, who?
But he gave Tony but he gave Tony the jacket.
The jacket.
The jacket. Janet Jr. Luna says Jr. Jr. is definitely, especially if we want to bring in that thing that shall never be mentioned movie.
Yeah. No, that gets the Rocky V treatment. Never happened.
Tommy Gunn never existed.
Never happened.
George Washington Duke and Tommy Gunn. I was just gonna call it Tommy.
Never.
Tommy Halloran Gunn. But yeah, he corrupts everyone, is what Tony does. Tony is a manipulator. I love how he's trying to, oh, you know who it is? It's Elliot, Milfy's therapist, because he's a smug cocksucker.
He is a smug cocksucker.
Elliot, you smug cocksucker.
I mean, we could also throw what's his name in here. We could throw Phil Leotardo in here if we wanted.
Phil's definitely near in the conversation. But I think again, Phil.
Devin, I'm not trying to be a dick, but which women does Tony hit?
He hit Carmela.
When did he hit Carmela?
We'll see in a couple of episodes.
Does he actually hit her?
Maybe, I don't know. I forget. We'll have to
He
watch.
might just hold her up against the wall.
Are we qualifying different degrees of domestic violence here?
I mean, Ralphie hits a woman. Richie hits a woman. That's a little.
Tony dilutes himself to think he's a good person, but he's really not.
I think Tony deluded me to think he's a good person too.
I think so. I think when we get into it, Tony uses a lot of shields to make you think he's a good person because he likes animals and he is a little bit more sensitive than some of these people in his verbiage.
He genuinely cares about his kids and wants to do the best for them.
Yeah, but I think this episode proves Ralphie genuinely cares about his kid.
Ralphie genuinely cares about his kid after the kid's in a fucking...
He orders women's death. He ordered Adriana's death, as Swamp Beard points out. Remember Tony B and all of that, Matt?
But the thing about he ordered a woman, the only woman's death he ordered was, Adriana?
Yep. An innocent, Matt.
Not an innocent. She was ratted. Snitching to the feds.
She was ratted.
Again, it's hard. Like, he doesn't know any better because this is the world he lives in. Like, in the world he lives in.
Look at you. You're doing exactly what David Chase doesn't want you to do. And you're qualifying Tony's... because James Gandolfini is charming as fuck. You're being charmed by a sociopath, Matt.
No, it's like calling... Dude, this is like calling anyone who's like... This is like calling... like any of the protagonists in Lord of the Rings terrible people because they kill people.
That's
like
different. They're doing it for heroic reasons. You're gonna get
it's like calling someone who kills someone during a war is like a monster. It's like it's in the world they're living in. And I'm not saying that Tony's a good person. He's not. The little manipulative things I think he does is worse, like taking the Highland Avenue thing from Junior. But Junior would have done that to him.
I love Dev right now. Snitching to the feds is what you're supposed to do, Matt. The feds are the good guys. Come on, Matt. And I love Paulie in this scene. He's just like, I'm gonna fucking. Paulie's hilarious in this scene.
Whatever happened there?
Whatever happened there? I love how selfish of a douchebag Tony is. I'm sorry, Matt. This is the beginning of us seeing the douchiness of Tony for a while here.
No, I already saw the douchiness of Tony a few episodes ago, and the whole taking the thing from Junior. There was like one episode where all he did was manipulate everyone in every way.
And
possible.
In this scene, we see his hypocrisy. Is that it's okay for him? Pie oh my, it's horrible. What happens? I'm an animal person too. But
the very difference is there are probably rules about mothers as far as in this thing.
There's no rules about horses.
There's no rules about fucking animals in this thing of ours.
She was a whole horse. She was a whole horse.
She was a horse.
She was a horse. You did that better than I did. Does Tony, let's follow up on this. Does Tony actually ever go and see Nucci? No.
I doubt he ever goes to see Nucci.
Nope. I heard you have beefs.
He didn't do it all for the Nucci.
Nope. I guess that's passively insulting Christopher, but Christopher gets it, and he doesn't have kids. Paulie's just a dink. Right here, this is I question how with it Junior is here.
Oh, he's playing here. This is him.
Let's watch this clearly. United States of America.
let's move on.
I'm going to get to Devin's comment in a second.
I'm tired. I want to go to bedroom.
We're almost done.
That seems real to me, Matt. We're sitting here.
No. He's playing this.
What's your tell?
Kennedy, you know where I was when he was shot? Haircut.
Okay, now that so many scenes you see people waking up from a night in bed and they're wearing clothes and the bed's all lovely. That's a very real image of what it's like to wake up in that context. I vaguely remember from about 20 years ago.
There was a fire at the stables.
And from this point on, this episode, this plays very much like a locomotive and just kind of going straight through scene to scene. Unlike other Sopranos stuff, it's more of a straightforward story. Christopher Moltisanti, Michael Imperioli referred to this as a mini movie that you get at the end here. And you do kind of get a little mini movie that culminates with a really amazing finish with Christopher and Tony. That so much of this builds up to Ralphie and Tony's big moment here, which is one of my favorite fights in the entire series. This with the Bobby scene.
Yeah.
But it ends with this amazing Christopher and Tony stuff. Matt, I love it.
The fire marshal says it looks electrical.
And they kept showing the goat as well because they showed the goat before.
Because the goat knows how to play to the goddamn camera.
It does.
It was a natural
Now that goat's a manipulative fuck as well. Let's be real here.
And Tony, who immediately snaps into his Robert De Niro from Backdraft position and goes arson investigator here, and he knows right away. He's got his scumbag spidey senses tingling right here. Devin says Tony being manipulative in every episode. That's the whole psychology arc, and Tony. Ooh. Like why he wants to identify it and then it gets dragged off here. Oh my goodness. Tony.
Oh, Maron.
If I'm reading James Gandolfini's performance right, he already knows it's Ralphie. And he's already decided he's going to go. I don't think. Okay, here asks the question, Matt. Does Tony go there with the intention to kill him or is he fishing?
That's the question.
Is he fishing?
Question.
And I think he's fishing. I do think his temper. He goes full Vincent D'Onofrio Kingpin in that fight, where he just goes, "You killed a innocent thing!" Like he starts going over the top. And I love how they don't waste any time. This is what I'm talking about with like a movie. It's just they go scene to scene. They bang right into this.
That's some bad news. Oh my.
Okay, I'm gonna watch this carefully here to see if Ralphie gives anything away. Luna, you're awesome. Dev, you're crazy. Everyone that's here joining us tonight, thank you so much. We appreciate it more than you know.
That's what Lois called me, and that's 4 messages I got on the machine.
Yeah, the horses too.
What is the most prominent thing in this scene? Tony's breathing. You can just hear.
It's always the most prominent thing.
It's big in this scene, though. It's almost like the Jason. Like he's about to kill. It's like.
All right, so he says coffee.
He does the same thing that he does in the episode before with Carmelo, where once he decides to sort of go into action or press him, he says, "Maybe I will have some eggs." When you cook eggs, do you use butter to coat the pan, or do you use a cooking spray of some sort?
Pam spray.
Pam.
Lois said the horse was still alive. It was burned so bad.
Ralphie keeps trying to change the subject. Tony keeps bringing it back to the horse. The anticipation in this scene is amazing.
It looks accidental.
Oh, thank you. 100. Thank you. Who's sending the hearts? Keep those hearts coming. Keep the likes coming. Keep sharing this out. Thank you, everyone that's checking this out tonight.
Sour cream's a secret ingredient.
I don't know about that. I don't know if
He's reading, expecting him to be upset. The fact that he doesn't care at all.
Yeah, he doesn't. He's almost happy. I think the giveaway of Ralph knowing it is he already calculated and immediately knows how much money each one of them's getting.
Suddenly there's a fire.
I think that's where Ralphie knows a bit too much. He doesn't seem surprised at all.
Yeah.
What are you, a fucking arson investigator now? Come on. They said it was an accident, right?
They like
He's not like what the fuck happened? How could this have happened? Well, he's just
like, so what? What the fuck? Let's take advantage of the situation. But in fairness, he's being a mafia guy. And I think right at that point, Tony's decided I might have to do something as he takes off his jacket and shit. Great to see Jay in the live chat. Dwarf Burger says unsalted butter in a pan. That's what I'm with you, Dwarf Burger. That's what I do. I have the unsalted butter into the pan. That's what I cook the eggs with. Matt's looking at us like we're gross. Unsalted.
No, I'm not at all. I'm just too fat.
Matt.
See right here, the fact that he's now saying.
I love how Ralphie loses his cool here and says things to Tony that he'd only say to his buddies. Like, you fat fuck. You almost believe him. Like, no, I did not.
I don't hear you complaining when I bring you a nice fat envelope. You don't give a shit where that comes from.
The look.
Don't give me that look. It was a fucking horse.
The look.
There he is. Now he knows.
Eat beef and sausage by the fucking carload.
Bam! Oh my goodness. Like what? Did Ralphie know that was about to be on at that point? And Ralphie's a little guy, but he puts up a good fight.
Oh yeah,
to Tony.
he's great for this. He's got that little Joe Pesci and Goodfellas in him.
He almost could.
Or Casino. Pick your Joe Pesci.
I think Casino Joe Pesci's a tougher Joe Pesci, especially the beginning half of that movie. But does Ralphie ever stand a chance in this fight?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
right
but
here.
If he had grabbed a knife right there and stabbed Tony, that was his only chance right there in that situation. And I guess at the end of this scene, when James Gandolfini burns his hand on the stove, that was real. He actually really burned his hand on the stove. Here's Gandolfini going full Kingpin from Daredevil. I know some people think that Tony might be talking in this moment about not Valentina, about the I forget her fucking name. I'm horrible. The girl.
Gloria?
No, the girl. The stripper.
Yes. Yeah, but Tony cares much more about a horse.
Way more. That's exactly what I was gonna say, Matt. But Tony cares way more about this horse than he does about.
He just paid $6,500 to have a painting made of him and her together. Which will someday look wonderful on Paulie's wall.
Only when he looks like Napoleon, though. Dwarper, yeah. I mean, that was Ralphie's only chance. He needed to extend the fight. But yes, right.
So that was really just burned himself?
When he really burned his hand, Gandolfini really burned his hand. They had kept the stove on all day, and Gandolfini grabbed it by accident. Christopher has the worst drug luck. He literally just boots up at like 8 in the morning, whenever this was, 10 in the morning. And his reaction, his whole conversation with Tony, the way it starts off, I smoked a joint, I snorted a little to go to bed. Okay, I'm just did some of my collections.
Now, you got 3 minutes.
3 minutes, 30 minutes later. But yeah, classic Christopher here. And this is at the point where Tony starts to lose faith with Christopher. I love how he turns this around on Christopher once he knows that Christopher did junk. He's like, you fucking junkie. He starts lecturing him and stuff. I love how Tony in this scene when Christopher shows up goes, I found him like this. That's one of the most amazing Tony lines, just out of context. I found him like this.
Yeah, I found him like this. My face, my eyes are sprayed. I'm all fucked up. My hands burned, but I found him like this.
I tried to move him myself. That's why I have blood all over myself. As Christopher all booted up has to go deal with the situation.
And this is why Tony's kind of fucked having Christopher's is number 2, he said, but because there really isn't anyone else Tony can call right now. Like, who else can Tony call? Who else can Tony call and have show up to help him with this?
He could go, or the question is, who else could he call that would keep this a secret? Furio maybe, but Furio's not there. Sil, but Sil probably he doesn't really.
Tone, you shouldn't have done this. Tone, you can't. He doesn't want anyone to know that this happened.
Exactly.
With the exception of
whoever did this.
Christopher's the one he could do it.
Exactly. Christopher.
Poor Paulie would be jealous because Paulie would have.
That's what I'm saying. But Paulie's a flabbita jabbita too. He would open his mouth about it. Oh, I found him. You should have seen the bald ass head. Remember that time we cut Ralphie up? That was great. Yeah. And Tony just talked shit to him 2 days earlier and told him not to touch Ralphie. Imagine how bad Tony would look in this situation.
How much more betrayal can I take?
Christopher. Michael Imperioli plays high so well.
Yeah. Great.
Like, I know that's not a talent to be proud of necessarily, but it really is. Sean Penn plays high really well. Spicoli. Certain people play it better than other people. And some people overdo it. Like, I always thought, for respect to people that like the show, I always thought the kids on that 70s show played it too hard and too strong. I've talked about Entourage, the mushroom scene, how well they play the mushroom scene in that because they understated it a little bit.
Dude, Tony, one of the best scenes
Tony
ever.
On mushrooms is very, or on peyote. Or
Tony
whatever.
in Vegas is incredible.
Tripping is a very accurate representation.
And it's the most subtle thing. It's just the way he's looking at something.
Even the way he describes it afterwards. And Michael Imperioli plays it subtle. I think that we're about to hear his I didn't. You gonna lecture me, junkie?
You fucking drug addict.
Again, classic manipulation tactic right there. When you did something wrong, you just start switching the argument.
But Tony is sitting here having to face the fact that the person he has put in charge of everything is that fucking hot mess right there, right now.
Fair. Very fair point, Matt. Very fair point.
Of course he's gonna be like, "Are you fucking serious? Like I'm banking everything on you being in charge right now," and he's literally sitting there acting like that.
I love.
All right, I still at a little age.
Okay, I'm sorry. And then I love how this carries through this whole scene when they're with the equipment later. It's like, see, this is what fucks up your hand-eye coordination. You gotta cut with that drugs.
What does he call it? Skag? Is that what he
skag?
calls it?
Yeah, you can't do skag. I think that's a 70s term for it, I believe. I'm not.
This is so funny here.
Whoa! You know Joey Pants had a hilarious time in this scene right now.
So I am scared you wouldn't know if he had your mother's muff on his head.
As Tony's putting the Visine, Gandolfini's playing this perfect. Like even just the feeling of having raid in your eye. Like, I don't know how that must feel, but I believe it would make me nauseous. Yeah, I believe it would make me nauseous like that.
I really wouldn't have liked to have seen that, so I'm glad they didn't show it.
Yeah, but they're friendly sometimes. If this was season 3, they probably would have shown it. Season 4, they start to they're focusing more on relationships this season, and then they're just hanging out in his house.
Dude, if I was there, I would definitely just be sitting there pounding that peanut butter out of the peanut butter jar.
I feel like somebody else. They were talking about this in the Talking Sopranos, that somebody's in the movie that they're watching right here, like one of the older women from. But I could be wrong about that. Let me see if I can.
Leave a message and make sure you leave your phone number with my schedule. I cannot look up.
I miss answering machines.
I'll tell you one thing. You can't be high on skag and have children.
Skag, yeah, skag is what he calls it.
Is that your new girlfriend, Maria Nucci? Bless you, Phil.
Thank you. Does the silent sneeze look weird?
Oh, yeah.
Teenage girls, they run away. God knows what happens to them. Killed, I guess.
Oh, wow. The bathtub scene, that we see Ralph in this bathtub earlier, like, actually alive.
In the driveway. I'm gonna finish up and get him the fuck out of here.
I should have written it down, but that actress right there is somebody I believe that was on The Sopranos.
Die.
And Tony's just doing the same thing Christopher's doing. He's constantly like adapting his story a little bit.
Yeah. He's still moaning.
Died almost right away. The illness wouldn't have helped him anyway.
Wally was a new boy all day. I know that for a fact.
So he's actually like eating it up. That it may have been the actual case.
Yeah. No, or is he just smart enough in this moment, as much as we want to get on Christopher, is he smart enough to know that you don't disagree with Tony in this moment because you might be...
And again, it's not like anybody liked Ralph.
Yeah, but I would also go as far to say, does Christopher know that he needs to agree with everything Tony's saying right here, or he might be in that next bowling bag?
Probably, but there's also what Tony does here is wrong from a standpoint of this thing of ours, and
Yes, this is the equivalent. I mean, it's different because it's actually part of his family, but it's not far off from what we were talking about Goodfellas, Joe Pesci earlier, what De Niro and Joe Pesci's characters do with Billy Batts, with Philly Leotardo in Goodfellas, where you're killing somebody in the family, connected, without getting permission for it. I mean, it was a big deal in an episode that Tony just hit him.
Right. And everyone called him out for it. They all called him out for it. And they said, you either got to apologize or...
Yeah, Sil was even like,
go away.
Fundamentally, Tony, you're wrong. This again was, I mentioned this before.
So what's in the bag? His head and his hands?
His head, his hand, and his hair. The 3 H's. Head, hair, hands. We see it. Don't they open? I believe we see the inside of that at some point before the end of this episode. In reality, though, what they're doing is not cleaning up all this DNA evidence, right?
No, but the only DNA they're going to have is his. They're wearing gloves.
Oh, that's
so like,
true.
what are they going to find? They're only going to find his dead body. That's not like a mystery. And it wouldn't be weird if his DNA was there.
And who's really giving a shit about Ralph Cifaretto when it really comes down to it?
Literally no one. The only person that might even liked him was his son, who can't speak anymore. So apparently, we know his wife didn't care about him.
No.
His ex-wife.
No, his ex-wife is going to be excited to collect on this life insurance policy that we know he probably has.
Does everyone that Janice banged ends up like dead?
On the show that we see, at least her main...
No, not the Jesus guy.
No, because the Jesus guy visits Tony in season 6.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I think we jumped off this quarry when we were in high school. I think that's the quarry that Michelle jumped off.
My sister broke her, like, spitting up blood after
jumping in the quarry in Tingsboro.
Yeah. I fucking love that place.
Oh, that was great. For the couple of years that place existed, forever long, that was my favorite. I liked it better than the Pump House. I liked it better than the place in Gloucester we'd go to sometimes. That it was just such a. It was just so
weird that we could continually find it, because like it wasn't like on a map. We would just go up there and like find it somehow, because I go up with different people, have different people drive.
Yeah,
it's so weird that we used to survive without like, Google Maps.
GPSs to help us find it or something.
Yeah, it was just some place we knew about in Tingsboro that was in the middle of the woods.
But yeah, I like that place. I mean, the Pump House was cool, but what I hated about the Pump House was climbing up it. I liked when there was a ladder up there, but when someone would bring a ladder, but I hated like having to climb up the side of that building. Like that was always my biggest problem there. How do you think Christopher would have responded if he wasn't high? I think he would have talked a lot more shit to Tony and questioned him more. But it puts him in a position once he knows he's high that he can't question Tony at all. he can't sort of get into it. It's if we go to the last episode, it's similar with the Carmela and the money thing.
Yeah. It's like
Tony's got him now. He's got him by the balls, and he can't really question anything Tony does.
Think he's banging that French broad?
He wishes. He fucking wishes.
he does.
He absolutely does. I love. There's just something about the tone of Tony right there. That's how I would talk about. How you talk about me, or how we talk about Joe, or Dev or Dave. Yeah, he fucking wishes.
Yeah, he fucking wishes he could.
But yeah, I think Christopher would have been more mouthy to Tony.
He would have asked him more questions, but again, I don't think anyone minds that Ralphie's gone. If someone's gonna do it, they'd rather have it be Tony than anyone else.
But I do think they'd mind the reasons why he went.
They also mind the fact that Tony preaches.
Yes,
following the
that he's a
rules.
fucking hypocrite.
Yep.
Christopher. I mean, in fairness, no one could do this.
Oh God, I couldn't do that.
I can barely drive a regular car, man.
That shit fucks up your hand-eye coordination.
It's like,
And that coordination.
it's like coordination. Tony's just a gigantic hypocrite in every way, shape, and form, is really what it comes down to. Uh-oh, my dog's about to freak out from that beeping. Are your dogs fireworks scared, Matt?
Stanley 100% was.
Yes. Rest in peace,
Rosie became that way because she followed Stanley, but she's deaf now. She wouldn't hear him.
Right. Lotus is so bad that if a truck is backing up on the road, like every sound, like it grew that every sound freaked her out, except for drums.
Everything freaks Amelia out. Literally everything. So she has like every sound. You drop something in the kitchen, she freaks out and runs upstairs.
Cutie.
But she has all sorts of issues. So.
Oh, she's a sweetie. So Tony's loving this right now.
And Phil, let's not like fool ourselves. If anyone we knew hopped behind that thing and started driving it, we would be like rightfully impressed.
Oh, I'd be way impressed. I mean, but
I'd be like, that's a more manly thing than anything I could ever possibly do.
But I do
just sit down and do that.
But I feel like some of our friends that we know could probably run things like that.
Yeah, sure, but I don't. They're people that like we knew they could. I don't think anyone would surprise us and be able to do it.
No, but if you saw Joe up on that thing, would that impress you?
Oh, 100%. If Ilya hopped down and did that, I'd be like blown away by it. But like,
I feel like Joe would say he could do it. If Joe is listening if Joe, you're listening right now, jump in the chat. Tell me you can do that because I know you will.
But like, if the drummer in Craig's other band,
yes, John could do that. John could.
You wouldn't be like blown away. You'd just be like, yeah, I would expect you to do that.
Or Joe Glow or something like that. Probably I could see him using one of those things in his.
Yeah, 100%. Skinny Floyd probably could.
Skinny could probably do that. Yep. Okay, this scene gets analyzed a lot with the dark into the light and all of this whole thing. Christopher says maybe a bit too much here at the end.
Does Steve Sharippa just say, sometimes lighting's just lighting?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think you're looking into too much about coming out of the darkness into the light. I think
sometimes it's dark,
and then it's fucking light. It's light. You know, I fucking hate Robert De Niro. Fuck him. Did you watch all the Talking Sopranos?
I've seen none of them. I haven't seen a minute of any Talking Sopranos ever.
Dude, I've said this many times. Once you see how big of a fucking pompous douche fucking Steve Sharippa is, I love you, buddy. If you happen to watch this, he'll fucking hate me now. But he's hilarious. But he's so not Bobby Bacala.
Yeah.
But yeah, the way Tony looks at Christopher in this scene, I think he's almost figuring out when he has to find an opportunity to kill Christopher. That's the read I take from Tony in this scene. Like, Christopher's going to be a problem. You're the only one that knows. But that's not what he means, Tony. He means that Ralphie's going to have disappeared and people will ask questions. And then Christopher's like, I better not leave it like this.
He's gonna disappear without question. And Tony's
the look on Tony's face right there is doubt, and Christopher reads it back, and he's like, no, you're right. And to Luna's question, that's what I think would have been different if Christopher was sober here. He would have been had more agency in his discussion with him. Oh, is this the only time we see the Bing shower?
I don't want to think about watching either one of these men shower.
Oh, come on.
I just want to watch Artie shower. That's it. You know this, though.
Yeah, Dwarf Burger. It is a fun show. It's good. I've laughed out loud at many moments because Michael Imperioli is so serious, and he's a funny guy, but he's very serious and takes it very serious. His motivation for metaphor is intense, and he talks a lot of like old Hollywood kind of stories. And then you get Steve being like, I was sitting here in this fucking moment, and whatever. But yeah.
So do you think does he put this act on just because the cops are watching?
I don't think he's acting.
I don't think he is here either. When I watched this last night, I must have looked away for a second and didn't see that was Agent Harris watching him.
Oh, see, I didn't even realize that until this moment right now, Matt, that you're telling me that. But I still...
No, Agent Harris is in that car across the street.
Does he have explosive diarrhea right now?
Junior looks at him, sees him, and then goes walking over to the neighbor's house.
So maybe it was intentional, but I tend to think Junior is... But then he snaps right back in. This is where it's so unclear. Dominic plays this with so much ambiguity. It's like hard to get your fucking head on it, Matt. It really is. It's so difficult.
And now we're just waiting like patients on a monument here to figure out what's going on with them.
Sisters, cunt. I mean, seriously.
Can I be honest with you?
Yes.
That was one of the worst things about The Many Saints in Newark. The fact that they used the line you says this kind twice. They did it twice, not once, twice.
Yeah, it's strange that became such a buzzy Sopranos thing that they needed to put that in as
twice. Why do it twice? You say one if you really want to throw it out there to like.
You don't have Schwarzenegger say "I'll be back" many times in a movie. He says it once.
Yeah, and you don't have, and he said it in one movie or maybe the sequel to that, but he doesn't say it twice. And again, it's not like your sister's cunt is a tagline. It's not like it's a thing. It's people who watched it and think it's funny that he said it.
Yeah, but they have to show you the history of when was the first time he said it. He does it every time he hurts his hip, Matt. Every time he hurts his hip, he has to say that. Huh? Get it? See it?
Trash.
That movie said, okay, so we got to stop talking about that because we are going to review it at the end.
No, I'm not.
So again, this scene, even the mirror, Tony reflecting off the mirror that underscores Tony's double-sided personality as we see it in its hour. On one hand, Tony is a sympathetic colleague, a lover of animals, a good manager of men, hot and cold, and a loving father. On the other hand, he's a ruthless, law-breaking, self-indulgent murderer that often cares about more about animals than he does about humans. His attention to...
That's fair. I care about more about animals than humans.
Yeah, me too. Me too, when it really comes down to it. He is a detestable human being. Tracy, that was her name, Tracy. But those are our episodes of this.
Tracy was her name, yes.
Let's end our poll tonight. Oh, we got 26 votes. 88% of the people say that Ralphie killed the horse. 11% of the people say no.
Oh, we gotta stop. I had to stop this.
Yeah, I shut it off right there. So Matt, I think. Obviously, it doesn't matter if he killed the horse or not, but I tend to think that Ralphie is too matter-of-fact about it if he did not kill the horse. I think he just would have had a different tact about it. I think they just would have been like, what the fuck happened? How did the fire start? Like, that was a big investment ad. I think it would have been anything. Mm-hmm. And it was none of that. I think it was more something that he wanted to stick it to Tony right there. And so these are two really amazing episodes of The Sopranos. And Joey Pants won the Emmy for this performance in this particular episode, and I think it's well-deserved. He actually beat Michael Imperioli this season, who won it the following season. So I understand why. This was, if we think about guest actors that come on shows for short periods of times, a lot of actors get good arcs to finish off their stories, and I think this is an amazing way. And being one of the group of the first episodes of The Sopranos I ever watched, Matt, it held true to me that the anything is possible. At any point in time, a character could disappear. Because when I first watched this, I don't know, when you first watched it, did you think Tony was going to kill Ralphie when he showed up at that door? I didn't. It came as a surprise.
No,
this scene was
100%
really exciting the first time I watched it.
Oh yeah. I had something I was going to say, but it's completely gone at this point.
Oh, okay. So
whatever was in my head is left already.
It's my fault. But on that note, I guess we should start to wrap this up. Dwarf says, "I love Tracy. Maybe not the burning her baby part, but other than that, she was a very good person. She was a very good person."
Also, one of the more fucked up Silvio lines. Silvio, when he goes and picks her up at his house, "Until you pay me back that $3,000, that shaved cooch," whatever he says to her, belongs to me.
Silvio is situationally a douchebag, but people, just because Stevie Van Zandt's so fucking likable, you want to like him. But Silvio, if you break apart his character, is pretty cutthroat. There's a reason he was the guy they sent to kill Adriana.
Well, there's also no one else that could do that he would trust. He trusts Silvio to do that and be quiet about it. Silvio would never say a word of that. Like, Tony's not going to do it. Yeah. And obviously Christopher can't do it, and there's no one else to really do it.
Luna says, with all Tony's craziness, it's crazy that Tony has that thing. Some people call it charisma, swagger, coolness. It's not something you can put into words. And we often ask this question, is it, and it's one and the same, but is that just something James Gandolfini has that carries through to Tony Soprano? Or is that Tony Soprano, that charisma? I guess it's both. I guess because Gandolfini is Soprano. They're the same. He brings so much of, even though he's a completely different person, but he brings that energy into his character. But I think we're supposed to think all the Sopranos are charismatic. What we've seen of Johnny Boy, especially on the show, all respect.
Oh, you mean actual, like, people with the last name Soprano. You don't mean Soprano family. You mean,
right.
Like,
people with the last name Soprano. That Junior, Johnny Boy on the show, not so much Johnny Boy in the movie, but we're not going to talk about John Barenthal's great, but he's not charismatic.
Janice has charisma?
I mean, yes, in the sense that she's always trying to sell herself. She has that little something special, right?
Oh, she's special, all right.
Maybe it's a mafia thing, like a mafia soprano thing. They have that. They get high off that mafioso energy. Does AJ have?
AJ does not have.
AJ does not have. AJ defeats my point.
It's also weird that we just had 2 episodes you consider great. There was no
zero metal.
Very little Malfi.
Zero.
Very little Meadow.
Zero
no
metal. No metal, right?
Yeah. 2 seconds of Adriana.
It was mainly Ralphie and Tony episodes.
Yeah, I mean, but there was Paulie and Sil
and Christopher had his points. But
Christopher was a huge part of the second episode.
And Junior was a huge part of the second episode.
Yeah. And
I think Junior episodes historically for me are some of my favorite episodes. He is not there's no secret or it's no hot take to say Junior is one of the best characters on the show. And any episode that he's a big part of is better because of his character.
Oh, for sharp one-liners, there's no one better than him.
No, he is the funniest character on the show, hands down. But he also brings the most emotionalism at times.
And he's definitely the intentionally funniest character in the show. Like he's trying to be funny when he says something funny, usually 90% of the time. He's trying to make a joke. And
to Luna's point, I've seen Gandolfini and other stuff. He doesn't have it the same way that Tony Soprano has it, except maybe in Get Shorty, where he's sort of playing more. And I'd say the drop too.
No, I think she's saying an example would be Get Shorty, not except Get Shorty.
Example is Get Shorty. Like he doesn't have it in Get Shorty. I would say the only movie that he does have it in is The Drop, and it's because he's playing a Tony Soprano like character. And I think there's something about the way he plays a mafia guy that plays it with this charisma and charm that almost it's not dissimilar to the way De Niro plays like Jimmy Conway in Goodfellas. There's just this smile to it, this like confidence that De Niro plays mafia guys with as well, that a charisma that exists, I would say. Pesci too. Some people just play it with this magic, and Gandolfini gets that magic, and Tony checks all those boxes, Matt. But what we are also going to be checking some boxes, because whether it be 2 weeks from now, Thanksgiving week, or the week after Thanksgiving week, Matt and I are going to be back to do the penultimate season 4 episode for us, because we have 4 more episodes of season 2, so 2 more of these casts, and then I'm going to, like I said, I am going to confidently say Matt and I actually accomplished.
This is how it goes, bro.
We accomplished a task, and we're going to have finished season 4 in the year that we said. So, and we might even be able to get done with 5 and 6 next year, Matt.
6A. Let's be realistic.
True, very true. But I am confident to say that unless one of us gets into some major accident.
So I had 3 surgeries on my mouth.
Right, unless Matt has.
I literally couldn't talk. Like, that's one of the reasons that we got, even during COVID, this didn't happen, because I kept having surgery.
Unless Matt has another major surgery in his mouth, I think.
No, not happening. I think they've given up on that, and it's not even fixed. But they're like, yeah, we can't. You don't have enough tissue left to do it again. So.
You did it all for the nookie, so you can get the tissue.
I did it all for the noochie.
So Dwarf Burger Swamp Beard says, the kids, the psych, the family are the worst parts. When it's just the crime dynamics, the show is at its best. I think what makes The Sopranos magic is the fact that we see those other sides, like the family and all that kind of stuff. But I do agree that when I'm most invested into The Sopranos, it's when we're focused on the crime, mafia stuff, in the surrealness of it, looking at it from weird perspectives. The guys talking about real life stuff, and you need to have those real life situations. I think the problem.
You love the Melfi stuff too.
I was just about to say, the difference is I do like the Melfi stuff, and I think it does frame as a Greek chorusy to kind of what everything else is going on. And I think, in some ways, because I really think Jamie Lee Singler and friggin' AJ Soprano there,
Robert Eiler,
yeah, I think they're really great kids, and they do a good podcast, and they're funny, but I don't think they're charismatically entertaining enough as actors to carry scenes. And I think a lot of it has to do with them just not being good enough to carry those storylines. And when they're on screen, they have to edit around it so much. So especially some of the Meadow at College stuff is edited just so badly that it's hard to follow. And in some of the AJ stuff that comes later is just Robert, God bless him, he can't pull off some of the emotional, like, he just comes off as whiny. But anyways, I don't want to trash them. We'll have plenty of episodes to trash AJ, because he's going to be a major part of the show in the final couple of seasons, especially the season 6.
Things I'm not looking forward to for 500, please.
In my memory, he's not as much a part of season 5, but I think season 6 he's a major part. That's when we get into
extra whiny. The further we go on, the whinier he gets.
Yeah, and he gets very like, I don't know. Gets very whiny. Again, that's a very and we're not going to say it right now, but I know whiny if you knew my last name. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Matt, we'll be back in 2 or 3 weeks, depending. We'll talk off air and figure it out. But let me get some damn music. If you haven't already and you enjoyed this, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Keep your comments going. Joe and I will be back on either Thursday or Friday to talk some Invincible, and I'll also be over with Tony at some time in the next little bit covering a show that he sent me some screeners for. So thank you so much, Tony. But we'll get into this, and we'll be talking about that soon. And if you enjoyed this, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, share the channel with a friend. Matt, thank you, man. Talk to you next time.
Yeah, I'll see you guys. Thanks, everyone that showed up in the chat.
Now we'll pretend that...
Except for Devin. That was too much shit talking to me.
It's too much, Devin. Luna says, I like the real life stuff, but it's as best when we see situations from the wise guy perspective, like run a guy over the car, refuse to pay. Yeah, exactly. We've seen these new takes on these weird situations of the mafia stuff. And because I think, in a sense, The Sopranos broke down the convention of mafia movies. It's almost like what we're dealing with The Boys and Invincible and the Xena show, right? John Xena show. Not Xena. The John Xena show with superhero stuff. They break up the conformity of it, so it's hard to go back. Love you, Dwark. Talk to you soon, buddy. Do you know I was texting Devin for a year and I had the wrong number? I was just texting some random person thinking it was Devin.
Did they ever text back?
No, they didn't. They didn't. But I did finally, after I figured out it was the wrong number, I sent them one final text. It said, sorry for all the passive-aggressive texts at the end where I was like, thanks for messaging me back, man. I really appreciate it.
Still no response, though, right?
No.
It might have just gone nowhere. It might be no phone.
No, maybe. But it is funny to think about it. I'll talk to you guys next time.